Ladies and gentlemen,
Today,
welcome to your favorite sports podcast, the Off the Dome Sports Podcast, where 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 4, occasionally 5,
9 times out of 10.
sports lovers sit and give their hot takes to you off the dome. I want to thank everybody for being here. I also want to shout out The Know. You can go follow them on Twitter at BeinTheKnow, no spelled KNEAUX, the only and the correct way. So a lot has happened since our last podcast with the very passionate man, Mr. Lottober, Clown Car, whatever you want to call him. And he gave us and y'all his thoughts on the MLB, in the last segment of Lots, Red Hots, and Knots. Kind of went off.
It was the most passionate segment this show has ever seen.
Right. And definitely look forward to more of that because I loved it. He loved it. Everybody I talked to loved it. So he'll be back definitely to do some more of that. But as of right now, to segue off of that, the MLB draft happened. And, for the most part, it was pretty chalk. There wasn't a lot of shock. 1 and 2 off the board, Skeens and Cruz, which everybody thought. But we're gonna talk about some of the Tigers that were drafted, also some of the fits we liked with the teams that drafted their players, and then we'll go into a little bit about looking forward to next year for Tiger baseball. So, Rebo Hustle, thanks for being here with me.
I'd like to start off by thanking you for the drip because we're trying to experiment on some jerseys for the OTD crew.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a couple different 6-dash.
Oh, yeah.
So we're trying to experiment with a couple different jersey ideas. This one was mine. We'd have our nicknames on the front and then just OTD on the back. But I think all in all, we went with off the dome across the front, nicknames on the back. It made more sense. I was just worried about how it looked off the dome on the front, but it actually looks really
it came out
nice.
Really good. A lot better than I thought. These are kind of like an alternate, if you will. You and Redfish both have one that will be an alternate. But Lot, however, his idea won, so we're going with his moving forward. I do not have one yet, for I need more money to order them.
Maybe if you didn't buy a guitar today.
Don't get into the logistics of this decision making because there is none.
Indeed. All right. So
let's kick off. Start off. Rebo just spent probably like an hour in here typing up a spreadsheet.
It's my favorite thing to do is do a little research. We had some great players get drafted that were LSU players.
Yeah. We'll start off with the Tigers that were drafted. When they got drafted and to what team.
Yeah. So of course, we had Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz 1 and 2. Skeens to the Pirates. They honestly needed young pitching. Their best players, the best pitcher right now is Richard Hill. He's old. I think he's like 38 or something like that.
Dick Mountain, if you will.
Big Dick Mountain guy. And then Dylan Cruz to the Nationals. I know Lot's super excited about the Nationals getting Dylan Cruz. I think he's a great fit for them. They need some young spark, and that's what he's going to bring.
Yeah, and he almost called it. When we were sitting here on the last episode, he said he wanted Dylan Cruz to go to the Nationals. He thinks he has a higher ceiling than Paul Skeens, which I kind of agree with. I think, Skeens is just at that level where he's going to be dominant for a few years to come, but it seems almost impossible for him to get much better than what he already is.
Yeah, his bat to ball skills are elite. I guess with a major league coaching, you can give him a little bit more power and all.
Sound man, yes. To answer bluntly, yes, I am. It's a work in progress. Mom wouldn't let me keep the goatee.
I think everyone should rock a goatee.
I'll post it on Twitter later. for all the fans to see.
But it was really odd. I think in the hours going into the draft, Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz have the same agent, and he came out and said that neither one will sign with the Pirates. And so I was fully expecting, what's his name?
Langford.
Yeah, Wyatt Langford to go number 1 to the Pirates just because of that. But I do think that Skeens is the best fit. They needed pitching badly.
Yeah, and it's not like, the Pirates are as bad as they were in recent years. Like they're on the come up. They had a great month of May. They were really good. They in fact they were leading the NL Central ahead of my Cubs by a few games. And then, their main thing is lack of pitching. They don't have, one of those guys that can come in and be dominant. So, like, once you get past Rich Hill, they fall off big time. And I think there's a great pick for him because Paul Skeens can, get that second day start or throw a bunch of relief innings, be a closer. He could do whatever he wants on that team.
Yeah, I was watching Mikey Matuk's podcast, and him and Jay Mitch were both saying that Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz, you might see 30 games of them in high A ball, and then they'll probably be on an MLB roster.
Yeah.
Which is a different thing with the MLB. I guess I'm not struggling to grasp it, but it's just a little different.
Yeah, MLB does a lot of things different, and I don't necessarily agree with all of it. You've heard my thoughts on that.
Yeah, but the farm system works. Yeah. It makes sense. It's what the NBA is trying to do with the G League, but they just can't. There's not enough funding, whereas the MLB has figured out the funding already. Moving on, I think the steal of the draft, the second to last pick in the first round, Ty Floyd to the Reds. We talked last episode about how red hot the Reds are. You're going to bring in, at worst, a middle reliever.
Right, yeah, a guy who has the record for strikeouts in a Omaha College World Series final.
Yeah, he proved that the fastball is elite. It's the question is what else is he gonna bring? What else is he gonna throw as a major league pitch?
Yeah. I'm gonna give
that fastball's elite.
I'm gonna give my Ty Floyd prediction right now. Don't expect to see this early, but give him a few years. And he is going to be dominant. He's going to develop a bunch more pitches. He's still going to have that fastball working. He's probably going to add some velo to it, but then he's going to, add some more breaking balls, some more off-speed pitches to get the hitter's eye level, change up the eye level a little bit, change up the swing timing. He's going to be good.
And personally, not being the baseball guy, I can't name a Reds pitcher, but I'm sure they have some talent there with how great they've been this season. Just adding another arm is always amazing. Especially a young arm.
Honestly, their pitching hasn't really, ascended like you would think it is. Their bats are what's winning them games. Ellie De La Cruz specifically.
That's what I was about to say. Where's Mike Thumpin Lot?
He said he couldn't make it.
Yeah, he couldn't make it. We were only available certain days.
I agree with the Waldrop steal. I wanted the Cubs to take him at 13, but I'm happy with.
Personally, I wanted my Padres to take him at 25, and the Braves took him right before.
Yeah, I'm very happy with who they decided to take.
And in a draft pick that doesn't make much sense to me, in the second round, Grant Taylor's taken 51st to the White Sox. He's a great arm. He competed with Skeens to be the ace this year, but you also haven't seen him in a year because of the arm injury. And he's great, but it sucks that we didn't get to see his highest potential in the Tigers uniform.
Yep. Going off of the chat here, talking about steals. This one, it was probably my favorite pick of the draft, just because of how it worked out. But I loved Wyatt Langford to the Rangers. The Rangers are already one of the hottest teams in baseball, and just adding that slugger, man, he can hit the crap out the ball. Just adding that one more bat, I think will really, really make this team ascend to the next level. They're already good. They had the most players in the All-Star game. They had, I think it was either four. I think it was 4 players in the starting lineup for the AL.
I was watching home run derby last night, and they said Garcia is by far the best player in the NL or AL, whatever it is. And I didn't know that. I don't follow the Rangers like that. Anything to say about Grant Taylor?
Yeah, sound man. Wyatt Langford was the guy from Florida.
Center field / left field.
Yep.
Home run baller.
Yeah. Yes. No, kind of just what you said. I wish we would have gotten to, see him be a Tiger longer, see what he could do. Because, like you said, he was early in the season or even preseason, they said he was competing against Skeens for that number one role. And could you imagine just Skeens Friday, Grant Taylor Saturday, Ty Floyd Sunday?
I feel like that's what got him drafted, though, was the stories out of the fall camp of that Grant Taylor's competing for that starting pitcher role, and that he's at worst he's gonna be the closer. You'll see him every day.
Yeah, we were there.
And moving on, we got best first baseman of all time, Trey Morgan, going number 88 to the Rays. I personally think it's a great fit because you don't see a lot of flash out of the Rays, and I think Trey Morgan will fit that bill of being just an off-kilter player, not your standard guy.
Yeah,
and that's what I think about when I think of the Rays.
I mean, the Rays have Arozarena, he's kind of been the guy to hype up the team. Really, he's kind of been the hype man. He's the one who always gets things going, and I see Trey Morgan as a very similar player in that sense to Arozarena. So I think they'll mesh well. I think Trey Morgan to the Rays was a great pick for them. I don't know where they'd play him, but I think wherever they do, he'll still be, because he's an athlete, straight up. Oh wow, this popped off.
Yeah, Dustin, we're gonna get into the recruits that got drafted and the recruits that didn't get drafted. And so that'll be our next segment. But currently, we're just trying to go through the roster as it is now.
Yep, and going off of Lott's comment. Yes, we did talk about Cruz to the Nationals, but following that, drafted at 165 was Gavin Dugas, also to the Nationals. Teammates staying together.
It was kind of a shock for me for Gavin Dugas to be the sixth Tiger off the board. I mean, I thought that him and Beloso were both hanging up the cleats. Dugas did have a injury-riddled time in Baton Rouge. Yes, he always had the pop in the bat. Yeah, he always had they finally figured out his eyesight problems. But the Nationals do get a guy that can play middle infield, can play anything you need him to. Yeah. He played outfield last year, second this year. You just got a yes man is what is
Yeah, and he's gonna ball out in AAA or AA. Excuse me. For a little bit, probably a season or two. He'll probably have some games where he gets called up, due to injury on the Nationals. And, I think Cruz is just going to straight up go out there and ball out.
Oh, yeah. Like we were saying with Cruz and Skeens, maybe 30 games in the minors, and that's it.
Yeah. But I can definitely see Dugas coming in on, some of those injury-related terms and playing a few games and really opening some eyes. And then, trying to prove his spot on the team.
And then the kitchen sink went out.
Yeah.
Once we hit 3:30, Garrett Edwards, who I didn't realize was draft eligible. I thought he was a sophomore. I guess he was a redshirt sophomore or something like that. At 3:33, also to the Rays. Screws and Keens. Yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised if I said that. Another guy that...
You need to get that on a hat.
Another guy whose season got cut short due to injury. We were really going to lean on him in what's the freshman's name? Chase Shores.
Chase Shores, yeah.
We're really going to lead on them out of the bullpen. It's nice to see another guy get drafted, if we're being honest.
I mean, I don't really have much. We didn't really see much of him. He's probably going to be another one of those guys who stays in AAA, AA, stays in the minors for a little while.
I can see that with the remaining picks.
I mean, the Rays already have a pretty good pitching staff, so it's going to be tough for him to crack that list. But yeah, I'd love to see him succeed at the next level.
And then the next Tiger off the board is at 361. Blake Money going to the Baltimore Orioles. Last year we saw Money start off the year as the ace because the curveball is impeccable. Just the fastball got hit, and so I guess I don't know if you're blaming that more on pitch calling, if that's what the Orioles are rolling the dice on, but you're not really rolling the dice at 361. But that's the chance that's the thing that's going to make Blake Money a big leaguer or not. Is can other things work other than the curveball?
As a major leaguer, you got to have multiple pitches that you can throw confidently for strikes. The glove boy Money. Yeah, you got to have a whole repertoire to be a big leaguer pitcher. It's tough. Moving on. This was honestly a little bit of a surprise to me, but I thought Joe Barra was going to fall more. But he ends up getting taken at pick 365, a whole year, to the Cardinals.
I don't know how that fit works. I'm sure the Cardinals need any talent ever.
Yeah, they're slumping this year for sure.
You get a guy that hits the ball 800 feet
or strikes out.
Yep. And that's what he played with Zach at Delgado, and that's what Zach told me that his scouting report on him was. He either hits the ball over the fence or strikes out. But I mean, Joe Barra's a tremendous talent. Was a yes man at LSU. Played some third while Tommy White was out. Played outfield last year. Played outfield this year. Actually, DH most of last year. So for the next pick, the bad body assassin, Riley Cooper. Also,
the age of Ozempic. The thick man is king.
Also got drafted by the Orioles at 391. I think that might be the steal of day 3.
Yeah. I mean, I love Coop, man. It's hard not to like Coop.
I mean, you're never gonna give him the ball on a Friday night, like start the night.
No.
But man, out of the pin, if you have a matchup that you want to get around or something, he's gonna face the best players on the other team and find a way to get 3 outs.
And he's so passionate. You know, he loves the game. You see it every time he strikes someone out. He flexes. He screams. It's one of those rare things nowadays, and that's why I'm a big fan of Riley Cooper. Coop.
Yeah, and next Tiger off the board was Jordan Thompson at 460 to the Dodgers. Kind of a shock to me that he fell all the way to 460. I think when he got drafted, I texted in our group message, you're telling me that 459 players are better than Jordan Thompson. The guy's an elite fielder. I mean, yes, the bat slowed down in Omaha, but we called it Mr. Clutch before.
Yeah, he came through.
The bat kept him in the lineup last year while the defense kept him in the lineup this year. It's just if and when he can get both of those things going on at the same time is when we'll see the true Jordan Thompson, and I do think that Jordan Thompson deserves to play in the Major League.
Yeah, I just hate the fact that he went to the Dodgers.
Another Dodger.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
Another Dodger is Javen Coleman at 490. We saw him play some start sometimes on Sunday in that revolving door rotation. He was a great arm out of the pen before he got hurt last year. I didn't expect him to get drafted just like Garrett Edwards because I didn't think that he was eligible, but great arm, goes to the league, has a chance to develop a couple years in the minors. I don't know if we're gonna hear his name in the major league uniform or not, but he has a chance.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you get drafted, you're already in there. You just gotta get in there. You know what I mean? I'm so stupid. And then everybody's favorite.
I was about to say you could talk about this one.
Everybody's favorite. Christian Little gets drafted at pick number 576 to the Mets. I don't have much to say about Christian Little.
I mean,
he was really good at the start of the season.
Yeah, he was great out of the pen. Start of the season. The little bit that we saw of him at Vanderbilt was elite. That's why Jay Johnson wanted him to come to LSU. It's just once, was that the Auburn game?
Yes.
He fell apart, walked 4 batters in a row or whatever it was. Yeah, he was our closer start of the year. Yeah, he was great out of the pen. But we started him that Sunday against Auburn, and after he saw that he couldn't locate, I don't think he was the same. I think he just couldn't locate ever since.
Yeah, he was that it's tough when you get into one of those situations as a pitcher. I mean, just trying your hardest to throw a strike and you're just missing it, or in my opinion, what he was doing was he was trying to throw too hard. And I've said this before, when you have that LSU defense, you just got to trust them, man. You don't need to throw all you got. You don't need to be Paul Skeens. Just throw a strike. Let him hit it. Because he didn't get out the first inning because he walked so many batters.
That's what the bad body lefty bros have done.
Exactly. They've pitched to their defense. And you'll find a lot of success doing that.
And so moving on to what Dustin dearly wanted the LSU signees for the 2023 class, who got drafted, who's likely to sign, who's likely to show up on campus. To start off, Blake Mitchell, catcher, got drafted. Yeah, dog. He got drafted to the Royals at 8.
He ain't coming.
There's no way you get drafted on day 1 and come.
Yeah, he ain't coming.
He is not going to show up on LSU's campus. The largest eyebrows I've seen in my entire life.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But the bat's elite. I think the question mark was, can he be a defensive catcher? He's got a couple of years in the minors to prove that.
Yeah, and he's going to – I have faith in him. He's going to grow and become a dog in the minors, and he'll get called up. He'll be one of those defensive catchers. He'll have that amazing pop time that he already has.
We're just saying catcher for fun, evidently.
I'm talking about the first base pop time.
Yeah, first base pop time.
No, chat's delayed.
But yeah, I think there's a reason he was the number 1 player in our recruiting class, and he proved it by getting drafted number 8.
We obviously weren't the only ones who saw it.
Yeah. The next signee off the board wasn't until pick 471, Jake Brown to the Rangers. As of today, he's gone and said that he will not be signing with the Rangers, but there's still a chance that the Rangers are like, oh, your asking price is $3 million. What about 2.2? There's 2 weeks before the signing deadline is.
Yeah, there's still some time, but
it just keeps the door open.
Yeah. I still am confident that he'll come to campus and be, if you're a Tigers fan, I hope you like left-handed pitchers.
This signing class is full of it. And Jay Johnson saw that we only had 2 reliable lefties this year.
Yeah, I know.
That we only had 2 reliable lefties this year, and he needed that to be addressed. And you're going to get that out of...
You never know.
Out of Jake Brown, and then the next guy, Cameron Johnson, also a left-handed pitcher, and got taken at 605. I believe there's only 613 picks. I think this was just a move for the Cardinals to leave the door open. I know he was supposed to get drafted in the first round. His asking price was $3 million. No one reached it. But I do think that he's one of the guys that really wants to show up on campus. 6'2", 225, huge arm.
Bless you.
Thanks. He's out of IMG. I think this guy can be elite. I think him and Chase Shore are similar body types. And so with this class, he's your number 2 guy out of the class. I don't think he was a 5-star guy, but he was definitely the number 2 prospect. And then Cade Anderson, left-handed pitcher out of Mandeville, number 2 player in Louisiana. He pulled his name from the draft. Was that Monday morning? That was the draft Monday? Yesterday? No, Sunday morning. Sunday morning, pulled his name from the draft, says, I want to show up on LSU's campus. I want to play ball. Which, good for him. Good for us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm excited to see.
Stanley Pitt.
Watch your mouth. It's a work in progress. All right, you got to trust the process.
So the next LSU Tiger signee to not get drafted is Ashton Lawson. It's an outfielder, number 1 player out of Kansas. I think that he has the potential to be, I wouldn't say the next Dylan Cruz because no one can be the next Dylan Cruz.
No.
But he has the potential to start every game, sophomore, junior, and if he wants to play a senior year.
That's what we like to hear.
And then we talked about, I don't even, you have to pronounce that. I can't.
Stephen Millam?
Yeah, Millam. I can't say that. Number 1 player out of New Mexico, shortstop, all-around dog.
Yeah. Which, with Jordan Thompson gone, we're going to need another shortstop, but there's some moves that still can be made. Like when we start getting into the transfers, you'll hear another name that I'm confident will start at shortstop and will, have a bat come alive, like an instant, replacement for Jordan Thompson leaving. And he's a shortstop who was playing for South Carolina. He is transferring to LSU. It's Michael Braswell. Great bat on this kid. Also, his defense kind of lacked a little last year, but I think we can whoop him up into shape and be that guy that Jordan Thompson was, if not better.
Yeah, his sophomore year, he played very well. I think he's the one that his slugging percentage was like 760 or something ridiculous. But this past year, I guess that was his freshman year. This past year was his sophomore year. Wasn't too hot with the bat. Wasn't too hot in the infield. There's a reason that South Carolina decided that he can walk. But I do think that there's crazy potential. And if anything, we saw the improvement from Jordan Thompson from year 2 to year 3 defensively. And I really think that the same can apply to Michael Braswell.
Soundman's confident in nipple T.
The old nipple T, you say? I think his defense is awesome. I don't want him to have a bat in his hands. I'm less confident in nipple T against Southern than I am Jordan Thompson in Omaha.
Yeah. I can get behind that. So yeah, well, you want to jump into these transfers since we already talked about one of them. The next 3 are all pitchers, 2 lefties and a righty.
Great names.
First up, we have Gage Jump, which is an awesome name.
Yes.
He was at UCLA. He's transferred here.
It's worked in the past. Thatcher Hurd,
yeah. Another one from Bama, right-handed pitcher, Cade Woods.
He's a Louisiana kid. I'm not super excited for him. He hasn't shown that he can be dominant. He hasn't shown that he can show up and get 3 outs. But it is always nice to get another Louisiana kid in the building.
Yeah, and it's always nice to, bolster that bullpen, regardless of who it is. Just have another arm in there is, one more step. And then the last pitcher out of Xavier, who I'm excited for, Justin Lower, left-handed pitcher. Last year he had like a 1 point. It was a sub-2 ERA.
1.23, I think.
1.23 ERA.
Or 3.8, something like that.
Close to that. Sub-2.
Sub-2.
Sub-2 ERA. Just dominant on the mound.
I can't see the comments, so I was looking around your microphone.
Just a dominant arm is going to come out, and I could see him being a starter. It all depends on what we see next season, who comes out, like Chase Shores. I expect him to be the Friday starter. Thatcher will probably be
Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday or Sunday, depending on this guy. So there's going to be a lot of turnaround this season for sure, but I'm still looking forward to this season. I'm not dreading it like a lot of people are doing.
Yeah, and this is just like the early transfers. Really, transfer portal really opens up once the MLB draft is over. I know that there's a guy out of Stanford that's a two-way guy that's from Madison, Mississippi. I didn't research his name, but for some reason I know that all of that about him except for his name. Supposedly Jay Johnson's on his way to Madison, Mississippi right now.
Oh, wow.
The guy throws 97, and we've already seen what Jay Johnson can do with a two-way player.
Jay Johnson's just a recruiting god of college baseball.
Yep. And then on to the guys who left. The one that stings the most is Josh Stevenson. He's going to Ohio State. As a freshman, he was... Do you think... Okay. He's going to Ohio State.
We'll get to that.
As a freshman, he was... I think him and Pearson made the lineup. Once we got to the postseason, they were the only guys that that you were willing to get excited about time and time again. We only saw like 8 at-bats from him this year or something like that. Really took a step back, but the outfield was so competitive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not even like when you get past the starters too, like, yeah, I mean, you got Pearson, Cruz, and Jobert, but even after that, Kling was one of those guys
starter
who stepped up
day one
multiple times in the season. He's so quick. His bat-to-ball speed is insane. He's able to, get those base hits that are right between the infield and the outfield, and he's able to hustle around the base paths. And it's hard to get a start over a guy like that and a guy like Pearson and Jobert too, just because of how active their bats were.
Yeah, Pearson took professional at bat after professional at bat. And I'm super excited to see him in center next year. I think that they should play him in center. If not, they're going to play Kling. But yeah, it was nearly impossible for Josh Stevenson to see the field just because he's not an elite guy in any single metric, whereas Kling can be your pitch runner type guy and stuff like that.
But yeah, we got one more guy to talk about. Hold on, Dustin. We'll get there.
Another guy out is Jason Bowman, a right-handed pitcher. He's going to Oklahoma State. He had 0 appearances in 2 seasons with the Tigers.
Yeah, I don't even know who this guy is.
Yeah, like I think I know the roster up and down, but I had never even heard of this guy. Evidently, he wore number 0, and that's the amount of appearances he had.
Awesome.
But supposedly it was due to pitching, due to injury.
Yeah, that's what I'd say too.
Me 3.
It's going to your question, Dustin, about Gavin Guidry. It's tough because we haven't seen, who they're all going to bring in, who's all going to step up. If, I would start him over Nipple T at second, I don't know if I'd start him at shortstop, especially with the transfer out of South Carolina. I think he's got that spot locked down over at shortstop. But I think if Guidry can, focus more on his pitching this offseason, he could be a dominant closer in college baseball. He can add some velo, work on his breaking balls, not throw them in the dirt to when he's starting his warm-ups.
Yeah, I'm not as confident in the pitching side. Like I feel like it was more of a party trick of like, hey, we're gonna throw this little young guy and he's gonna throw this big looping curve ball and you're not gonna hit it. And then we faced some elite bats in Omaha, and every first pitch that he pitched in Omaha went over the fence. Because like the fastball's not elite. He had that big swooping curve ball, and you were just like, oh, there's a chance that one goes over. And for some reason, the SEC people weren't swinging at it. I feel like if somebody has the time to sit down and do the scouting report correctly on him, there's no way that he can be on the mound. But because that no one was thinking about, let's scout the freshman shortstop as a pitcher, it worked. And so I think that he's going to probably start at second or even start at short. I mean, if Jay believes in him, clearly, and we've already talked about how Michael Braswell is a bit of a I can't even think of what to call it, but like a fixer-upper.
Yeah, he's got some things to work on for sure.
If Gavin's fielding is elite and his bat is consistent, there's no reason he can't start at short and just move Braswell over second. Either way, I'm fine with, but I don't think that he just should be on the mound, personally.
Yeah. And for me, it's just a big question mark because we haven't seen him play the field. We haven't seen him bat. We have seen him, be one of the better relief pitchers for, the regular season. So, until we got to Omaha, he was, grooving on the mound. And I just think that if he wants to do that, be that two-way player, we're going to have to see some at-bats from him. We're going to have to see him play the field for me to be more confident in him. But other than that, I stick with my opinion that I think if he works in this offseason on his pitches, add some velo, get some more movement on those breaking balls, he can be a dominant closer in college baseball.
I mean, that's fair. I'm just worried that if he's been a PO this whole year, and if you're going into the offseason and trying to get more velo, trying to add stuff. I hate that baseball term is stuff. trying to add stuff to your pitching repertoire. I just think that that's not there's no way we're gonna see him play short. Just because the amount of time that it's gonna take him this offseason to do what he has to do to make those changes. And then also this recruiting class riddled with pitchers. Transfer portal riddled with pitchers.
Yeah.
More of a reason to see him at short or at second, somewhere in the middle infield. I mean, I like the guy.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, I love him. But
I just don't see it working out the way that everybody wants it to.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. He is just a big question mark moving forward. He's a young kid. He could really do, whatever he wants, and I think he'll be successful.
Might as well break down where we see people playing next year being Soundman's in the comments telling us what the infield looks like.
I agree with that. I agree with Jones playing first and Tanks playing third.
Brady and Neal playing catcher. Jones being the backup catcher.
Jones being backup everything.
You'll either see two of the three guys in the middle infield, Braswell in the pole, or Guidry.
Or Stephen Millam. Or Millam.
Yeah, I feel like Guidry was a better shortstop prospect than Millam is, but I mean, anything can change.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some battles for some position battles this offseason. So,
and then I think two of the outfielders are solidified. The third's still up for grabs. Yep. You got Kling and Pearson coming back. Everything else I mean, I'm not even sure if we have another guy after them that's on the roster currently. Oh, Ethan Fry. We've seen him for a little bit.
He played.
But he's catcher primarily, but he went in just to bat.
Yeah, he played right field.
In
the final game of the College World Series.
He also was the bullpen catcher all season. I mean, I love Hayden Travinski. If he doesn't hang up the cleats, I will gladly let him DH or start at catcher.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean it would be a position battle between him and Neal.
Yeah, and I mean Brady showed up to campus ready to play defense, like really filled Milazzo's role better than Milazzo could even. But we just saw the oblique problems with Travinski in Omaha. I'm worried about that rehab, and if it's more than we thought it was. But I mean, great bat.
Yeah.
There's no reason that if he stays, he's not going to be in the lineup.
Yeah, if he stays, and even if he doesn't earn that catcher spot, because I am confident in Neal, I think he'll be a great DH, kind of similar to Beloso.
And then we kind of went over what our pitching's going to look like.
Yeah. Just
not the pin. I mean, you get Nate Ackenhausen back. He could also be in that starting conversation.
Another big body.
Is there anything other than baseball we talk about today?
Oh, yes. We're going to get into... What time is it? Perfect. The last 10 minutes. We're going to talk about some fantasy football.
Ooh.
Right around the corner,
The Conda.
Our big draft is only like a month away. Month and a week, I think. Football starts
I'm terrified.
September 7th.
I'm terrified of the draft because I can't be there, and so I have to I'm gonna have to remote in and consult Bryce on every pick.
Yeah, I agree, Sam, man. Neal is a stud. But yeah, going on to fantasy football. Let's talk about chat. Give us a position you want us to talk about fantasy wise.
Now, what are we gonna do with these 30 seconds?
We're gonna sing you a ditty. No, we won't, because we'll get copyright striked.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, wide receiver. I like this. Let's talk about, we'll go.
Can I reference my?
Yeah. I'm going off the dome like.
I have a tier list that I made and sent to my co-owner and Redfish because I wanted to get on the same page. So let me pull up that, and we're there.
Okay. So yeah, we'll go. We'll just give your thoughts on or you do your top 10, give your thoughts on some guys, and then I'll do mine.
Like we're going in order.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. My number one receiver is Justin Jefferson. I mean, there's no way that he's not going to repeat what he at least did last year, if not better. I don't have Jamar Chase as high as most people do. A lot of things I'm seeing lately have him at 2. I think he's more behind Tyreek and Stephon Diggs personally. I just think that those two guys are the main receiver on big throwing teams, whereas there's 3 guys in the Bengals receiving core that can really get it done. And so that's 1 through 3, and 4 will be Chase, and then 5 I have AJ Brown. I think he's elite. I personally really, really want him on my team. Sucking on chili dog. Sucking on chili dog.
Can't get copyrighted for that one. Thank you, Dustin.
Let's see. And then probably Cooper Kupp and CeeDee Lamb around the same tier. So that's 6 and 7. CeeDee Lamb probably have a whole lot better year with a whole year of Dak if he's healthy.
Big if.
Also, Cooper Kupp, I think he could be number one receiver in fantasy football again.
Depending on Stafford.
Depending on if Stafford's healthy. Depending on if he himself is healthy. And then it kind of falls off a little bit. I'll take Garrett Wilson. No, my bad. Forgot about Devontae Adams. Clear number 8 seed.
Cruising in a number.
Yeah, cruising in at number 8, Devontae Adams. I think Jimmy Garoppolo can get him the ball. That's the real question mark on if he has an elite season or not. Personally, I'll take Garrett Wilson at 9, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown at 10. I think Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Jared Goff, and that's the only reason I have him over him.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. So my 1 and 2 are Jay Jettas and Jamar Chase. I think they're going to follow up their previous amazing season with another amazing season fantasy-wise. I also have the Bengals winning the Super Bowl this year. I bet on it already, so keep that in the back pocket.
Huh.
What was that for?
Jamie Noyes.
Yeah.
Asterix.
Yep, fair. Hopkins signs with the Bills. That's tough. So if Hopkins signs with the Bills, it's going to be a crowded room. Like, I do think the Bills will be more successful, but from a fantasy standpoint, I think his potential will drop as well as Diggs, because that's 2 top-tier receivers on the same team, both wanting the ball. It's going to be tough. I personally think that he's going to sign with the Chiefs.
Yeah, if he signed with the Bills, I'll probably have him around 20, according to this list at least. Like right in the DK, Keenan Allen range. But if he signs with the Patriots, I don't even know if I'd take him. I wouldn't even try. Just because isn't Matt Patricia the play caller? Like, I'm just not confident in that. And then I would love for him to be on the Chiefs, being I have him in Dynasty. He'd instantly be the number 1 guy.
Yeah. And I think that's...
If he's on the Chiefs, I'm probably taking him at 9 on this board.
Yeah, I think that's what he wants to. He wants to go into a situation where he can be the number 1 guy without a doubt. And, if I'm him, I want a good quarterback too. So, but yeah, back to my top 10. Yeah, 1, I had Justin Jefferson, and 2, Jamar Chase. Like I said, I think they're going to replicate the previous season and just be dogs. At 3, I have Tyreek Hill. I'm very... My outlook on the Dolphins this year is skyrocketed. I was confident in him last year. Tua got injured. I agree, Dustin. I also think D-Hop wants a ring, and I think if the Chiefs are one of his best options to go. But yeah, Dolphins went through a lot of quarterback problems last year. They fired their doctor, fired the team doctor, got him out of there, and then brought in a new guy. So I'm way more confident in the Dolphins this year. Hopefully Tua stays healthy, which would mean Tyreek Hill has an awesome season. Also means Jalen Waddle will. I wouldn't put him in my top 10, but I do think they're going to be very successful.
So if Miami's only offseason big move is to fire their team doctor and they make a huge playoff push, I'll be very confident in what the Pelicans do this year, because that's also the only thing they did was fire their team doctor.
Well, I mean, the Dolphins can still definitely make some moves. They, there's big talk about Dalvin Cook, who's a free agent, and Miami wants him. That would be his hometown, going back to his hometown. That would be amazing. I mean, it would drop my Raheem Mostert stock, but it would be a great pickup for them, I feel.
I feel like it would drop my stock of Jalen Waddle. I think Tyreek won't be affected but that secondary receiver is going to see less targets due to more carries.
Yeah. So moving on, 1 through 3. Fourth, I have Stephon Diggs. Salman is in love with Stephon Diggs. I feel like he's had him the past 3 seasons, and
It's not safe for work.
he's proven it multiple times that he is on this stiff breeze. It's a good one, and it's
highly probable.
Yeah, so, Diggs for me is number 4 just because of his consecutive success. 5 is kind of like a toss-up because there's, a big group of guys that I feel like could finish the season in this spot. But I'm going to go with A.J. Brown. I feel like the Eagles are going to be an elite passing team this year. So keep an eye out for Brown, Devonta Smith, what's his name? Quintez Cephas, Quez Watkins.
Dude, I can't draft Devonta Smith for a 3rd year in a row. I can't do it. I'll pick Deebo Samuel first.
So yeah, I'm gonna put A.J. Brown in my 5 spot, followed by Devontae Adams. He's kind of like, not only is he the main target out in Vegas, he's like the only target out in Vegas. You got him, then you got Renfro, who was hurt last season. You got rid of Waller, but you bring in a rookie in Michael Mayer. He's still a question mark. You got to see what he can do, see how he can mesh with the team. Apparently, according to Twitter, he's, meshing pretty well. They've had some film of him running some routes. He looks pretty good. Jimmy G likes him. Devontae Adams likes him. He's a hell of a guy. But moving on from that, what was it? That was 6, 7. 7 for me would be Amon-Ra St. Brown.
You haven't talked about CD or Cooper Kupp yet.
I know.
Oh, okay.
7 for me would be Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm very confident in the Lions' offense this year. Like everybody talks about, it's Jared Goff, but I mean, last year they had the number 1 scoring offense for a while. Jamal Williams was the number 1 running back for a while. And St. Brown also had a really good season last year. And all they did in this offseason with the draft and with signings, they kind of just bolstered up that offense to make a bunch of different playmakers. And I feel like he's going to be the standout guy for him this year. So that's why he'd be my number 7. Moving on, then I have Cooper Kupp. Just because, a healthy Cooper Kupp is unrivaled. I would put him higher, but because of the injury, because of his quarterback's injury, it's still like a little... Shadows are getting long. Yeah, we might have to adjust the scheduling. We might have to start at 6 every time.
That or figure out a lighting situation.
Yeah, or I could get like a ring light or something. But yeah, Cooper Kupp, because he would be higher if he didn't have that injury last year, which was devastating for fantasy owners, along with Matt Stafford's injury. Rams just took a tumble last year. I think he'll bounce back this year, but again, it'll all depend on Stafford's health. So that's why he's that low in my rankings. Following him would be CeeDee Lamb, just because he's a freak athlete. I don't like the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're going to be awful this year. Again.
But they have one of the best jersey combos in the
They
league.
have the worst. They have one of the worst. I hate you for that. He's a freak athlete. He's super quick. He's got great hands. But I'm not a fan of Dak. And I'm just not confident in the Cowboys' ability to throw the ball down the field, get him all those targets that he deserves. And then finally, my 10th spot will be Garrett Wilson. He had a phenomenal rookie season with a dog water quarterback. Now he's going to have an even better season with a great quarterback. The Jets will be on to something this year.
It's on to something this season?
Yeah. Playoff implications.
I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is that much of a difference.
He is a huge difference from Zach Wilson.
I mean, yes, but there was still an injury riddled team. There's still question marks on the offensive line. I don't know if they're. I mean, I'm sure they'll get in a wild card, but I don't know if
playoff implications.
I guess I don't think they're gonna win a playoff game or nothing like that.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I said playoff implications. They're a very young team
with the oldest quarterback in the league.
Correct. So, y'all have heard our top 10 receivers. That which will wrap up this podcast, but stay tuned for the next ones because we'll keep talking about fantasy. We'll go through all the positions so Dustin and Salman can snipe all of our draft picks.
It's okay. Redfish is picking for me, and we have differing opinions.
Like Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, like Cortland Sutton should be on our freaking team, man. And for the 5th year in a row, for all I care, because Sean Payton's going to make Denver's offense elite.
I agree. So, yep. I want to thank everybody for watching, hanging out with us. It was great having you. And one more time, thanks to The Know. Follow him on Twitter at BeInTheKnow, no spelled KNEAUX, the correct way, the only way. I am Mustang.
I'm Reba Hustle.
Yeah, he is. And we'll catch you next time.